Okay, this stick is the reason I wanted to get all those others done. I didn't want them in the way because I have great plans for this stick. It's a huge stick. It's heavy. It's got a lot of girth to it. It's long. And I have been studying this stick and studying this stick. And I think I have come up with a plan to turn this into a real beauty. So, now you can tell what I've done for the last week. I'm going to end this video and get it posted soon to the YouTube channel, and wish you all a happy new year and hope you have a prosperous and healthy and safe 2019. Thanks for watching. Okay, you can see now that I've trimmed the bark off. You can see some of it laying there on the floor. I weighed this stick before I started on it, and it was 6.4 pounds. I just weighed it again after trimming the bark off, and it shed 1 full pound of bark, plus a couple of small little limbs that were sticking out. Maybe an ounce for those two. Now, this stick is still a little bit green. It's not completely dry. And so I'm hoping now that the bark's off, if I keep it in a warm, dry place, it'll give up a little bit more of the water that might still, or sap that might still be in it. But I'm going to continue to work on it in this state, and it will be giving up weight as I work on it. Now, this stick is 6 1/8 inch in circumference. That's around the top of the stick, way up here. It's 59 inches high from down there at the floor all the way up here to the top when it is standing vertical. But if you measure the length of the stick and you measure from the bottom and follow the curve there, it adds 2 inches to the overall length of the stick. And it has a diameter of about 1 3/4 inches. So there's a lot of work yet to be done to reduce the weight, reduce the diameter. I'm probably not going to mess with the length too much, although I may take an inch or so off. But the next step now is for me to sharpen my knife again, and I'm going to trim a little bit more bark off, just fine trimmings. So I'll get back with you. Okay, now you can see what the stick kind of looks like with the bark peeled down. Now this will give you a little bit of an idea what the stick looks like with the bark peeled down. You look at it closer, you can see this like hair hanging off in places. So that'll be the next step in the process here. I'm going to take some 60 grit sandpaper and hand sand and get some of those hairy edges off so I have a more smooth surface to work with. 60 grit sandpaper. Pretty coarse, and that's the way I want it for taking the bark, the loose hairy bark off that stick. Okay, I've gone over the entire length of the stick with the 60 grit sandpaper to knock off the big loose pieces of stringy bark. Obviously there's still little tiny hairs, and I think I'll let this dry overnight and then hit it again tomorrow, and I think all those little tiny hairs will just go away then. But before I put it to bed for tonight, I'm going to use the Wen rotary tool and shape these places where the limbs were. Do a little shaping around the base down here and knock off some of the rough edges here on the top of the stick. And then it'll be time to let it rest, and me too. Here you can see the Wen rotary tool hanging from overhead, and I use the wand in my hand to do the work. It's a lot simpler than holding the whole tool and trying to work with it, and it's a lot easier on the tool, I think, too. I also keep a small vacuum running in the work area to suck up some of the dust. You can see the dust there on the chair just from today, but a little bit there on the floor. It does help. And of course, always wear a mask when I'm sanding. So I'll bring you back in a little bit. Well, it's time to put this stick to bed for the night. I've smoothed off the top, took off the rough edges around the top. I've took a few divots out along the shaft. I've smoothed over where these branches were cut off. They will get more attention as the stick goes along. I've decided to leave it at its original length. I've started the positioning of the where the rubber foot will go on this when it's done. This will have to be taken down considerably in diameter. But I'm going to take it in, let it dry some more, and work on it some more tomorrow. So, again, Happy New Year, and tomorrow will be January 2nd, and plenty more days to come to work on this stick. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. It's January 2nd, and it'll be the second day of working on this monster stick. Today I'm going to start laying out the pattern that I'm going to carve into this stick, primarily using the Wen rotary tool. I won't be able to lay out the entire pattern because part of it I'm going to have to cut as I go because of the way the pattern's going to be. So you'll see that when I get to it, but that'll be a couple days down the road. I've watched a gentleman on YouTube. His channel is Cornelius Creations, and he does power carving using a rotary tool, and he's very good at it. And he has tutorials and gives hints and stuff on what to do. And one of the things I first learned from watching his work was when you're drawing out a pattern, make a big, bold, heavy line. Don't draw a little skinny line like this that you can barely see. Draw a big, bold, black one like this, so you don't lose it as you're working. It doesn't get lost in the shadow or the dust or the lighting. So it makes sense, and I agree with him on that suggestion completely. Okay, now you can see the pencil lines. There's two of them running around the stick. There and there. And they are approximately parallel. You notice here it curves back and it goes the other direction around the stick. And it does this the full length of the stick. They're just heavy, dark pencil lines. I use a carpenter's pencil. Like this one. Nothing fancy. The important thing was to keep the lines parallel to each other. They're not parallel all the way up, but they're parallel to each other all the way up. And I originally said 1.5 inches apart, but I changed my mind and did 1 5/8 inches. So now I'm going to start doing the actual carving. And I'm going to start carving in just a little bit. I'll use the Win rotary tool and the wand with a 1/2 inch diameter sanding wheel on it with 80 grit sanding. And even with that, it's going to take several hours to carve out all of the wood that I need to remove on this one. And I'm not going to make you watch that. I'll get my vacuum system going, get my mask on, get my apron on, and I'll go to town and let you have some time off. I thought I'd bring you back in here for just a few minutes to show you how I'm progressing. I've got the 2 parallel grooves running most of the full length of the stick. I had to be careful in my planning, working around the knots. That's 3 passes with the 1/2 inch sanding band. The first pass was very light just to establish my line and where I wanted the groove to be. And now I'm taking out material. I'm going to change my sanding band, put a fresh one on, and continue on making these grooves deeper. sorry about all the noise, but thought I'd let you enjoy what I'm doing a little bit. I'm about ready to call it a day on this stick and pick it up again tomorrow. I've been working on the grooves. They're starting to get deeper and deeper, but I want to get them probably another 1/8 to 1/4 inch deep into this massive stick. But it's time to knock off for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. This stick started out weighing 6.5 pounds. With working and drying, it's now down to 4.6. So I'm gaining on it. There'll be more material removed from it in tomorrow's work on it, and it'll continue to get lighter as I go.